Former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott, who is also a key architect of a free trade agreement, spoke with WION's principal diplomatic correspondent Sidhant Sibal earlier. He spoke about the growing partnership between India and Australia and also told us why China does not qualify as Australia's trustworthy partner. Listen in.
With me is the former Prime Minister of Australia, Tony Abbott. So welcome to WION. You are being credited for the India-Australia Free Trade Agreement. Your role, how do you see this Free Trade Agreement helping in trade between the two countries?
Look, it was a great team effort on both sides. Minister Goyal did a fabulous job for India. Minister Tian did a very good job for Australia. And at the end, it was the Prime Ministers, Narendra Modi and Scott Morrison, that really made it happen. I saw my role as really about 6 months ago when things were stuck, like putting a bit of oil in the machinery to make the machinery work. Obviously back in 2014 when I first met Prime Minister Modi and raised with him the idea of a free trade deal, he was very enthusiastic, and I guess I made the most of my friendship with Prime Minister Modi to make sure that this stayed a priority with India, because let's face it, the world is beating a path to India's door, and Australia could easily have been neglected amongst India's many suitors, but thank God we weren't.
How do you see India-Australia panning out, the relationship panning out? Because there are a lot of positive developments. The Indian Prime Minister and the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison met, in fact, 3 times in a gap of 1 month.
Yes. Well, the Australia-India relationship is strong, but historically it's been underdeveloped. For a whole host of reasons, it needs to be much better developed quite quickly, partly for economic reasons. We are going to have to replace China in supply chains, and frankly there is no better substitute for China in so many of our supply chains than India, given India's very sophisticated manufacturing base. There's also the whole geostrategic issue. Obviously, the world is more polarised now than it has been for many, many years. India is a democracy under the rule of law, as is Australia, and I was quite keen to see this deal as, if you like, the economic arm of the Quad. The other thing, of course, is that there's almost 1 million Australians of Indian background now. These are people who have very strong links into India, and what's going to make this trade deal work is not government so much as individuals and businesses. So all of those Australians with an Indian connection and all of those Indians with an Australian connection are going to be what makes this whole thing work. And I'm very confident that there'll be a lot more Australian coal and iron ore, other minerals, particularly strategic minerals, to help Prime Minister Modi's Made in India campaign. But I'm also very confident that we will get a lot of Indian jewellery, textiles, as well as intermediate goods. India is an extraordinary manufacturing powerhouse, and let's make the most of that in Australia.
So you mentioned about China. China is a big worry for India, and it's a big worry for Australia. How do you see the Chinese role perhaps in Indo-Pacific? They have been very aggressive with your country in terms of trade, seen weaponizing trade as well.
Look, that's why China is not a trustworthy partner at the moment. I mean, China has been weaponizing trade against us. China has been either bribing or bullying other countries right around the region, including quite close to India, and this is just not right. I mean, countries should have a right to have good relations with those they choose, but you do not want to see a large and powerful country either bullying or bribing others. And relationships have got to be on a fair, honourable and transparent basis, and that hasn't always been the case with China.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.